What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Too Many Opinions podcast. This is Sarah.
This is Jeannie.
All right, Jeannie, what do we get into today? What's the topic?
Okay, on episode 19. Super excited to be here, first of all. We are going to be talking. I can't even talk. Sorry, guys. It's the morning time. I'm a little whatever. So, this episode is going to be centered on, is it important or do you think it's different when a man or a woman has God in the center of their relationship?
So, right off the bat, yes. Yes, it does. And I think that it changes the person and the dynamic of a relationship when God is also the center.
Absolutely. And it's not to say that like a man or a woman won't cheat or won't do you dirty if they're Christian, like whatever you decide as your God. Like
right.
You have not religion. I don't want to say a spiritual connection.
Right. And when I say God, I'm not talking about one specific. We mean any religion that you believe in it. If you're religious.
Right. If you're religious.
Yeah.
It's not to say that they're perfect people. It's not to say that they're not going to step out. But I just feel like when you have the fear of God, I'm Christian. So when
I'm Catholic.
Yeah. So when you have that fear of God, you tend to like think about things before you do them. And a little more.
And I feel as though what believing in a higher power does for people gives them faith, gives them empathy, gives them sympathy. It gives them all of those emotions that we almost lack in common day feelings. I feel like we've lost sight, most people, not everybody, have lost sight of following or believing in a religion to help get them through times that we have now turned into mean, vicious people. And it's so sad. And I think it goes just like everything else, in everything in your life, relationships, friendships, family, your regular life, like what's going on. It could be health. It could be wealth, money problems. You know what I mean? And if you're not
connected
to a spiritual
entity,
like what are you doing? Who are you relying on?
That's true. Which means that you're technically relying on yourself. And so that's putting all the pressure on yourself. When you believe in a higher power, you're believing that the higher power, along with your efforts, is going to help you get to the next level of life. You know what I'm saying? But when you're not believing in anything but just yourself, or I don't believe in nothing, I just believe in me, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
That's a lot of pressure, and it also makes you a self-critic because you have almost no self-remorse. Like you don't give yourself any grace, any leeway. It's just like a constant battle, and it's like, when you take a moment to think, to pray to whoever it is that you believe in, it changes you. It refreshes you. And I believe that women who are God-fearing or religious-fearing and men that are God-fearing, whatever, who you believe in, bring a different energy into other people's lives, to relationships, to friendships, because they see things differently. They believe the word of the Lord.
Yes.
And that is different. The word of the Lord, if you've been to a mass, I've been to both Christian and Catholic masses, where I've sat down and I've been immediately brought to tears by what is being said.
And it changes you.
And I wasn't even going through anything, but I was touched by the word of the Lord. And I will never forget that.
Yeah.
So I think that, especially in relationships for men, I think men who are God-fearing provide and give differently than a man who is not God-fearing or in a relationship. And I think that's because he doesn't have the guidance from the Lord. And women too. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe the same thing. It's like back to what I was saying. You're completely dependent on yourself when you're not meant to be dependent on yourself. You wasn't made to be dependent on yourself. So it's almost as if you have no fear. Like with me, like I grew up in church, for example, right? I know that I don't live the most perfect Christian life, or I don't pretend to be either. Like I know I'm super not perfect.
Right.
But I always, growing up, even though I smoked and I drank and I partied, I always had that fear of, besides just disappointing my parents, I always had the fear of disappointing God. Because my mom and dad couldn't see what I was doing when I was out in the streets. But I always knew that God could.
Yeah.
So that always kept me like grounded.
That is so big because I feel like a lot of younger people, because I feel like our generation was different. Like I was also brought up Catholic, but I went to CCD and I went to church every Sunday, and that was instilled in us. And I also agree that I was God-fearing. I didn't want to disappoint God, and I didn't want to be like a failure to him. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to follow what was in the right footsteps, but again, I didn't always make the right decisions.
Exactly.
And when I didn't, guess who was the first person that I went to? Him.
Right.
Him. I prayed. I apologized. Please, Lord God, give me strength. Give me the energy and the time to heal, to get through this, to be better, to show you who I am. You know that I am not this. And it's like,
it feels
wow.
good. Yeah, it feels good to like have someone to depend on completely. Imagine like having all these problems and going home with your problems, and you don't have no one to be like, okay, God, you know what? I'm going to give these problems to you, and I'm going to let them go and let you handle them. It's amazing what happens when you do that.
Can I?
Because he handles.
He does.
He does.
Can I share a story with you guys?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so at my old job, I had a coworker, and she was a Christian woman, and very, like, literally the most amazing woman. 100% was invested to church, everything. When I tell you, there would be days that I would either be going through something emotionally, like I didn't feel like I was in the right headspace, or I was down. She could like feel my energy from behind. She used to sit behind me. She could feel my energy. And I would go to her some days, and I would call her by her name. I'm like, can you say a prayer for me? And she would grab my hands and she would pray over me in Christian prayer.
Yeah.
And speak to the Lord, Father, our heavenly, you know what I mean? And when I tell you what was taken off of me in that moment, I felt like a different person. And I cannot tell you how many times I just went up to her with water in my eyes, like, can you please pray for me right now? And she would stop what she was doing and pray over me. And
God bless her.
And she would pray over me. When I was pregnant, she'd pray over she would call me and pray over me. And the way that I would get goosebumps throughout my body, it was the most unreal feeling I've ever had.
And it just makes you a better person. It makes you a better mom, a better friend, a better business partner, a better wife, a better girlfriend, a better everything. Like, it just makes you, I now understand when they say it's not good to be with a person that's unequally yoked with you.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, like when you're with a person that doesn't believe in anything, it's hard, because not only do you spend your life trying to convince them
and prove almost why
and prove them wrong, and first, like in a Christian world, that's a sin. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, you're not supposed to be with a person that don't believe what you believe in.
Yeah.
But if you're already in the mess, you're not supposed to like obligate them. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like, it just makes it so hard. It makes it so hard because if you're going through a financial issue as a couple, and you tell your partner like, yo, God got this, don't worry. And it's not to say like God got this, let's sit on our asses.
He's just gonna send us money.
The money's not gonna fall from the sky.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? But like, to know that he'll make a way, and then the person to kind of shut you down, like, yeah, whatever, you're still in a bad mood. It's like, it's supposed to be like, oh, let's say we're both in the same religion or spiritual realm or whatever, and I say, oh, don't worry, God got us, and it's to be like, oh crap, yeah, you're right, you know what, God got us, let's move on, let's think about something else, let's watch a movie, let's relax because God got us, rather than God got us and be like, yeah, whatever,
all right, how are we gonna figure this out? How are we gonna figure this out? What are we gonna do about money, blah blah blah? And it's so true,
and it brings a lot of strife into your relationship.
It does.
I honestly, like, yeah, I would, I don't even know how, I'm gonna say too much, so you could keep going. Yeah, keep going, because it's like, my thing is I just think it's important that when you're starting a relationship, make sure that the person is like there with you mentally
and on the same page when it comes to things like that, because I agree, you should be with someone who has the same beliefs and or values as you.
Absolutely.
Like, you need to be able to find common ground when there's turmoil, to be like, okay, how about, I know we're upset right now, we may be in this argument, but let's say a prayer, go to bed, talk about it in the morning, whatever that prayer may be, and praying together.
And God helps.
It helps, and it's so important to pray. Even if you feel like you don't know how, just talk to God, whether it's in your brain or out loud, whatever it is that you feel. Some
and
days
invite him into your relationship. Invite him to be the center of it. Like, things really change when you do that. And not only that, but what about if you get with someone that doesn't believe what you believe in, and, now you guys have children?
What are we gonna do?
Actually, like, and it's not to put my business out there, but my boyfriend does not believe in God.
Wow. Okay, that's different.
And I do. and I do like passionately.
Yeah.
And my thing on Fred was like, no Halloween for our kids. And he was outraged. Like, oh, hell no. Like, my kid is definitely celebrating Halloween. And I'm like, my kid is definitely not.
Wow.
Whether you like it or not. And then that brings issues. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
the clash.
I believe that hopefully one day we'll be in a middle common ground. But it's tough. It's tough to, like, be with someone that doesn't believe
The same thing.
the same thing.
But I think to that sense, I feel like people can grow and welcome the opinion of a God, even if they may not believe into it, or because they weren't maybe raised to be like a God. You know what I mean?
Because he does respect me. Like, if I tell him come to church with me, he'll go.
Okay.
It's not like I'll be like, no.
Yeah, so
or
that's good.
shut
That's
down
good.
completely. It's just that he's more of a person like, I need to see it to believe it.
Yeah. And
that's tough because I get it. I get why he needs to see it to believe it. But also, like, you don't see wind, then you believe it.
ooh, that's a good point. But I do believe God shows. He gives signs. There has been times in life where I'd be like, God, please give me a sign. And I may have said this a week or 2 weeks ago. Please give me a sign. Is this the right thing that I'm doing? Am I making the right decision here? And God will open my eyes and put me in a situation to answer the exact question that I asked him. And I'm like, God, did you just do this to me? I wanted the answer, but that's not how I wanted it. I didn't want to see with my eyes. And God said,
that's the thing. That I get what you're saying, because then we ask God for things, but secretly we don't want him to answer it because we want to do what we want to do. Even though we know what it is that we have to do.
What it is we have, because that's what we know, no matter what the situation, we know in our heart what it is that's supposed to be done. It's a matter of, are we going to take the steps, the sacrifice, the trouble, the trials, the tribulations to get there, to answer or solve that problem, right? Answer the question or solve that problem. So when God does show, you have to be willing to receive it and accept the fact that, okay, God gave me a message. And like I said, it doesn't have to be God. It could be your own religion. They listen and they hear it. I truly believe this. This may sound crazy to some people, but I believe that when you speak it into existence and speak to your higher power that you believe in, they are there, they are listening, they are present, and they acknowledge and respond when the time is right.
That's so true. And I'm going to do a little story time too real quick. When we was living in LA, the first year we got there, we had no idea what rent was still. I didn't know about credit scores. I moved out there clueless.
Wow. Okay.
So the week, let's say it's Wednesday and we're supposed to get paid Friday of the same week. Me and my boyfriend had no money. We only had money coming in that Friday, but we needed to eat. And we only had pasta and sauce. So that's what we were going to eat. So then we're driving and I said to him, I'm like, oh, only if we found $50 on the floor. And then he's like, I know, right? So we get to the house, nothing of it. And I get next to my bed, we have this plastic cup about this big, maybe like a ruler, a little bit bigger than a ruler for the people that can't see us. A big cup. And maybe like a third of it is full, not even. Like a little bit of it is full. And I'm like, yo, like how much money do you think it's in here? And he's like $6. I'm like, $6?
Hell no.
More like $4. You're crazy. There's no $6. Like $6 is a lot. You're crazy. So he's like, count it. So I start counting it. Literally reached $50 on the dot. And where did I find it? On the floor.
Oh my God.
And I just, even he was like, wait, that is crazy.
That's crazy.
And it's just to show, like, you got to be careful with what comes out of your mouth.
Yes.
Yo, even when, like, I did it the other day, actually, when we were looking for, we'll say it now because it's a fact, but we've been looking for a studio because this is, some of you guys may or may not know, this is my house and I'm moving and I need my house back.
Yes, and we needed to separate spaces. But, okay, so continue.
So I said to myself, we had found the space and the guy, amped us up. We were ready to go, ready to sign a lease. Whatever. Everything. Ready. Out of nowhere, he hits us with, I don't know, we can't. Like, he gave us a million excuses as to not. And I got so mad, but then I reminded myself, I was like, yo, God got something better for us.
And we both said, everybody.
And then everybody, because it's 4 of us in the chat, God got something better for us.
And sure enough.
And it's another thing when you're running late. You're like, crap, everything. There has been like days where you like just like running late and everything's going wrong. You're catching every red light. You spill coffee on your pants.
That was me yesterday.
But then you start thinking, imagine if I would have left the house a minute earlier than what I was supposed to.
What would have happened?
So when you start looking at life that way, I know we got a little bit off topic, but when you start looking at life that way, like God is saving me for something better, or God is, saving me from an accident or for whatever it is, you really start like connecting
and seeing things differently and being open to receive what God
right.
has.
And I'm glad that me and you have the same or similar beliefs, because we could put God in the center of our podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And the respect is different. Like, you actually are humane. I feel like people with no belief. I'm not saying that people that don't believe in anything is a bad person either.
Right.
But
No,
I
no,
just
no.
feel like it's an extra level of protection.
I don't even know if it's protection. I just feel like they don't, in my opinion, and this podcast is too many opinions, so everybody, before you go jumping down our throats here, okay?
It's her opinion.
It's my opinion that people who do not believe in something, any religion, are not as like
warm,
wholesome. They don't have that extra empathy, and they don't have it because they don't know that God never, like, hearing the story.
It's something that you can't just get. It's something that he gives you.
Right.
And you will never know that because you don't accept it. Don't accept him.
And hearing about the stories of all, like, throughout the Bible and what happened and the sacrifices and what people, it's like it gives you a different perspective. It makes you believe in learning. I don't know. So I just feel like people who do not have a religion are not as whole as they think they are.
Or spirituality.
Yes. They're not as whole as they think they are, because as soon as they give or are open to as religion, spirituality, whatever, it changes them. And it makes
Whether
them
you like
whole,
it or not,
and it makes them whole, and they don't believe it until they actually have to go through it. And I think that it takes them to hit rock bottom, to be completely broken, to finally open up their eyes and be like, God, why are you doing this to me, or whatever? Please give me a sign. Please help me.
Right, the ones that don't believe in God, but something bad happens. It's like, Jesus, please, God, the universe, like help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this goes to say this. I think it's super important that if you as a person are religious or believe in a higher power, to find someone that also is on the same time as you, because it makes it really difficult. Maybe it's not difficult in the beginning, but throughout life, it gets difficult. And not impossible,
but it changes
difficult.
how people deal with situations, confrontation, turmoil, death. Like, but it changes everything. The dynamic of everything, because one person is looking to God for guidance, for strength, healing, whatever, and then the other person is just almost sitting in misery, guilt.
Oh, they're looking for that out of you, and you become depleted because you're not God,
and you can't give what you don't have.
Right. Like, God's giving me that strength. It's not up to me to give you the strength that God is giving me
to you.
Yes. That's up to you, because maybe today I need 95% of God, like that strength from God, and maybe today you need 75. And so I can't give you, or maybe I have a 95 and you need 100. So then what do I stay with?
-5. Yeah, like, no.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's tough. I think it's important to, when you're in a relationship, from the beginning, set rules, set what it is that you like, whether that's serving a man or not, whether that's religion, whether that's whatever it is. Talk about this in the beginning. Don't just go off looks and what shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and a whole bunch of like fantasies, because
what you could see, what you thought could be, all those things
could all be a fib, or a lie.
Or it could be something that they say that they want in the moment, but don't know how to tackle it, and it's not up to the other person or the partner to help get them there. They have to want things themselves and be who they are and go after it themselves.
Oh, I think that's gonna be saved. That topic, we have to write it down before we forget, has to be saved for season 2, which is
coming soon.
You cannot want something for someone.
No.
You cannot.
You can support their dreams, but you cannot want it for them, because
you can't do the work for them. You can't push them off the bed. You can't
enabling. And you can't enable. That is literally the worst trait to have, is being an enabler for someone who does not want something themselves.
Right.
And I find that for me, when I'm enabling something, I have to remove myself completely from a situation. Entirely. Wow. I have to. Because if not, I will
get depleted, right?
Depleted, and I'll take on the burden.
Oof, yeah.
And I can't help it.
And then you have your own burdens.
And then so now I'm dealing with everything on my shoulders right now. And then the burden of you whatever it is, trying
You're
to get
supposed to make my life easier.
right, trying to get a new job or trying to solve a problem. And my thing is like problem solving. And this is off topic, but just to like close on problem solving. I cannot be with a person who, or have a friend who is not a problem solver.
Oh my God.
Like that literally is one of my biggest pet peeves, aside from a few other things. If you do not know how to problem solve, like I can't be around you. Like
2 topics for season 2.
Yeah.
Jesus. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
all these topics. Are ding, ding, ding. That is such a good one. You cannot. I'm so sorry. But if you're going to mope, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to mope and cry.
Of course.
Then you got to wipe those goddamn tears and figure it the hell out.
What are we gonna do? And it's like, I can't be picking up that energy all the time. You can't. And the people who come to you to problem solve for you, no.
I can help you out. I will never solve your problems.
Right.
This is why you need to talk to your higher power. In my case, Jesus. Go talk to Jesus, because I can't do it for you, sis.
Right.
Or
right.
bro.
Whatever it is.
So yeah, guys, this was an interesting topic.
Very
It
different.
was a lot more calm, a lot more zen,
Yes.
and a lot more deep. So thank you so much for listening in. And I don't know if you want to say anything else, Sarah.
No, that's it. We'll see you guys next
All right,
time.
bye.